This is Already Cartere with my third video for the Talent Pathways module. Gareth Bale recently retired from football after an illustrious career at the age of 33. However, after being touted as one of the greatest players of his generation, Bale's passion turned to a different sport, golf. Shortly after retiring, it was announced that Gareth Bale was going to be taking up a spot in the infamous PGA Tour, and at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, he scored 7 under par alongside his professional partner Joseph Bramlett. The question is, was his successful debut due to his talents in football? Today we'll be learning about talent transfer in sports. The question is, what is talent transfer? A study by Stirling University, led by Tracy Ray in 2018, describes talent transfer as a process that occurs when an athlete ceases or reduces their involvement in a sport in which they have invested significant time and concentrate their efforts in a sport that is new to them but involving similar skills. So an example of this may be a rugby player deciding to take a role in American football, as was the case in 2018 when former Wasps player Christian Wade signed for NFL franchise Buffalo Bills, even running 65 yards for a touchdown in his first ever play. Despite this ideal start to his NFL career, he was released in 2021 and has now returned to rugby union, playing for Racing 92. With the key skills needed in rugby, for example tackling and running with the ball, it will have been a relatively smooth transition from rugby union to NFL, with the main exception learning the new rules. Christian Wade is an example of a switch from team sport to team sport. However, a 2014 research project by Rosie Collins et al. Discovered that switching from running to bobsleigh was the most popular transfer of sport, with an average age of transfer being just 19 years old. Bobsleigh can either be an individual sport or a team sport, and the key attribute of both is sprinting, which makes the switch easier than other sports. There are also examples of sports people benefiting from a change of position within team sports and having a major impact. In Pep Confidential, a book from Marty Perenau about Guardiola's first season at Bayern Munich, it describes how Guardiola switched Joshua Kimmich, a right-sided defender, into a central defensive midfield role. Kimmich was quoted as saying, "He showed me positions in which I had never played before and in which I didn't even know I could play. And he showed me spaces on the pitch that didn't exist before for me." There are many attributes that can be transferred throughout positions. On a basic level, every football player must be able to control and pass the ball. However, the most important transferable skills in sport are the psychological attributes. For example, bravery, concentration, and work rate are 3 key aspects that can be transferred between position and sports in a wider context. However, it is also important for the athlete to identify relevant sports that they could switch to. As mentioned in a 2020 journal by Pion et al., to successfully transfer from one sport to another, it is important to determine the underlying performance requirements. The sport identity makes it clear that a systematic analysis of sporting constraints is necessary to establish a match between athlete and sport. The similarities and differences between sports can then be considered as transferable characteristics for a broader development pathway. So it would be easier for basketball and netball players to be able to switch sport, but a basketball player might not possess all of the necessary characteristics to participate in competitive table tennis. It is fair to say that, based off this research, Gareth Bale's transfer from football to golf is an anomaly, as there are a very limited number of skills that can be switched from football to golf. Gareth Bale was able to switch sports due to the constant practice in his spare time and a passion for the sport of golf. However, it is possible that we will see more examples of sports people switching sport in the future.